Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing one of the greatest underdog stories unfold. Even though I was hyping up Bilibili on this channel, the same way you can hype up this video by leaving a like and maybe a comment. And then maybe tomorrow you'll have sun and good weather. I don't control it. I can't predict it. That's why I'm saying maybe. But odds are you increase the chances by doing the things that help me. T1 versus Bilibili. I didn't think Bilibili would beat Genji, even though I thought that Bilibili is a great team. I didn't think Bilibili would beat T1, even though I thought Bilibili is a great team. But they have managed to form their biggest strengths into spears, and through the sheer force of just better execution and finding ways to get their AD ahead in the meta that is all about AD, they played out most games with a clear edge. In this series, we saw in every single game, we just saw a bot lane dive. A bot lane dive that forced Guma and Keria to play on the back foot. In the first game, Lucian, K'Sante, Jinx ban. They want to leave room. By banning Jinx, they want to leave room to first pick a mid laner. They revealed later on in the series that if any ban came in, that they would just pick Nautilus. I know a lot of people were down on the Nautilus, but considering the champions that you have access to play in mid, everyone talks shit about Nautilus, but what is the other option, right? Sure, some mid laners play Ahri, but it's harder when Vi and Wukong is out of the picture, right? I think that the bigger issue for T1 in the previous series was just the fact that they paired it with Kindred in spots where it made a lot less sense. I think Annie, first pick, okay. T1 prepared to go Rakan Wukong. So this is where it was strange, right? The Kha'Zix ban feels out of place, and I believe that this is where they have room to explore a Lulu ban. I think it was more and more clear as the series progressed that the third ban should have been Lulu. Why are they not banning Lulu? I'm not so sure. Are they expecting the enemy to then first pick Rakan and they don't have answers? But in that mind, I think that they can just play Thresh and they can play Aphelios and have a good matchup, right? If they create a circumstance where Lulu is out, they will always create this triangle and then give higher value to Rakan. And at the same time, just deny the enemy the Lulu Aphelios or the Lulu Zeri that they really, really like to play. I think that's a crucial ban here, a crucial adaptation, because the enemy is not going to pick Kha'Zix 1, 2, 3, and I think Kha'Zix is just a throwaway ban because in the end, it's not really working. The other angle, of course, is that you just play Lulu Aphelios yourself, so you go Lulu and then you just drop a Wukong. I think maybe the Lulu Wukong, they like it less because they are not so keen to play Zeri. Zeri is not something that Guma has played a lot, and then if the enemy steals away Aphelios, maybe they don't feel comfortable. That could be one of those things, right? So Rakan Wukong gets locked in, enemy gets Zeri, Lulu, they send Annie mid, right? Annie support has been a mid for a very long time, so you know that Annie is mid. They decide to then drop jungle because they don't want to pick Ahri on 3, and the Ahri Prio showcases the both players, don't feel so keen to play it. Xayah gets picked on 3, and then the follow-up from T1 is to ban Poppy, which makes sense, right? Poppy, there was many amazing Poppy spots in this series that could have broke the game completely if it was picked, but it wasn't really picked. Here it makes sense, right? Enemy showing Wukong, Rakan, physical damage jungler, Poppy makes sense. Cannon is banned, and then Nautilus to just set up for the Jax blind. I think here, maybe in this spot, you can consider Cannon Gragas ban, but we saw also in those situations that, of course, Zeus is willing to blind pick Jax. Gragas gets picked, Viego and Jax gets locked in full 5, and then Lissandra on 5. In my mind here, I think Red Side Draft, they have a lot of tools and they are very strong in early skirmishes. Drake 1, Drake 2, Rift Herald, if Wukong is 6 and Lissandra is 6, it's very easy for them to target one hero and then to create circumstances where they, of course, just create the advantage. But the key thing here is that Zeri is going to run cleanse, and when Lulu is on your side, everything kind of boils down to how good are the conditions of Zeri. If Zeri is ahead and she can get blown up, which of course she will not be able to be because she has Lulu ult and cleanse, then the game will be more and more difficult for red side. Looking at the game, I have to say this game is not so fresh in my mind anymore, but I do remember that Viego dove bot and that it was a crucial moment in the game. Let's just fast forward. I think that Faker had, here we go. So Billy, they crashed wave number 3 here into dive. Shun just did 3 camps into Raptors, into bot, and then Wukong is on top side. Let's see here if Billy actually had information on what Wukong's start was. Because Wukong is now doing red into yes. Even though the enemy, like the fact that the Raptors are not taken, or it's very rare that a jungler does red golems go into bottom side. That is very rare. An additional detail here, right? Even though if T1 enemy jungle is going to do like some crazy play where they, just have that information, or they don't have this information, the key thing is just that Shun is checking, right? In the moment here when he checks the blue and the blue is gone and the Gromp is gone, he knows now that Wukong did 3 camps bot side into skip red and to go. Why is Wukong going top when they see the same thing? I think that T1, I don't want to blame Wukong solely for this, because Wukong being here, it's not really like difficult for owners to set up. I think the key thing is maybe T1 bot lane said that they can get dove. Maybe they don't think they get dove, right? This is a team dynamic thing. I doubt that Gumayushi and Keria is like, yo, we can get dove here. They're stacking a wave. You need to be here. He says, fuck you guys. I want to do golems. I really doubt that is what plays out, right? So this is just the potential of the play completely misread by T1, right? And at first it's like Ludo is with EQ, she doesn't have, and like Gumayushi is just low HP. I think an improvement could be that Keria basically Keria needs to block the W, right? It's very important. The Lulu starts tanking, which is super good. I think if anything, Keria can maybe block this spell. The key thing here, right, is Guardian is already popped, evidently, and Keria maybe doesn't have spells, maybe it's E cooldown. Like if he blocks the W and maybe he flashes some damage, maybe there's something to be done. But already now, it's like Xayah is so screwed in this game. She's having a really rough time. This dive could have been executed a little bit better. If Shun plays a little bit better with his abilities here, he's looks like he's kind of first timing Xayah. He's just dying to the turret. Then I think they can just clean dive the Rakan without giving any comeback kills. But then again, Keria getting kills or not, it doesn't really matter. The key thing is just that Elk has fantastic conditions, gets a clean base, and he even gets a plating here on the first base. The wave is bouncing towards him. He can just press B. And already now, it's just look at the gold gap. It's like right now, Zeri has double the gold of Xayah. And this was the key, most important thing in the game, right? Most important element of the game. It's like if Zeri's ahead, we're enjoying ourselves. Also on top of that, On still has flash, Elk still has flash, cleanse, Oner's into top side, but he can't really dive Jax, and that's it. That is all she wrote. Now once again, right, it's like Wukong needs to rush into bottom side because Rakan and Xayah are on the push out. Maybe they can do their best to just crash the wave and just go. This is a more realistic version of the Gragas into Jax matchup. I think that what Doran showed is completely unrealistic. This is a very tough matchup for Jax. Very tricky. Zarakan gets to crash the wave. The wave is big enough. We're going to now continue to the first Drake of the game. This is a mountain Drake, so it's very tough to kill it. It's very tanky, and you see that the damage that T1 do is very limited. Shun gets to cross over, and Elk still has sums. This is a bit of a weird one here for Faker, because he chooses to ult himself. Given my Faker has Mercs here, and I think that if he just ults Annie or whoever he can get in contact with, they can follow up with Rakan spells, and then Xayah spells, and then they will find lethal. Instead here, like imagine he just ults Yagao here and then Rakan W into Xayah spells. I could see a situation where they actually, get some pressure. But Faker ults himself, leaving himself in a really viable position. Not viable, what is the word that I'm looking for? I'm looking for a very specific word that is close to viable, but it's not viable. Vulnerable. That's the word. Thank you very much, guys. You guys got my back. Thank you. We fast forward. Very good catch here on Yagao. He's trying to connect with his team and he just gets turned on. Faker knows he has no flash from the play before. And here, kind of surprising once again, the Faker chooses to ult himself. Because once again, he can just ult the Annie and then Wukong will be able to keep his flash and ult. Very strange. He just ults himself. And now Oner needs to use his abilities. Maybe there's some mud in his self-cast button. Very strange. I really like this from Bilibili, you know, very similar to the Drake. They are really finding, like their timing on everything is so damn good. Like their timing is amazing. Lissandra has no ult, Wukong has no ult, so they want to contest. They are feeling good. Jax is healthy and they're trying to look to push. And what's happening? Who needs to get banned, guys? I don't know. I'm ignoring chat. So, Shun is entering right at the right time. They had vision of the Herald. Very good. You know, super close because Shun doesn't have smite here because he's small to find speed on the blue, right? To be quicker. But I really like the timing of the contest and this could have gotten really dirty super fast. And the key thing once again here is, right, Elk is firing and pressuring them hard enough to make sure that T1 is staying under this turret. Like this is beautiful. Beautiful. Elk maybe a little bit too fast, right? He doesn't need to die here and he can just wait. But the fact that they pick up 2 kills here is a thing of beauty. On the flip side though, Annie is on bot and looking at T1's champions, Rakan and Xayah, they're going to be able to free dive, of course. Annie, especially because she doesn't have Tibbers. The key thing there is just the timing of when they contest. They realize that they can, even though they have the worst position, they are just leveraging the fact that the enemy has no ults. They want to pressure, which is super good. But once again, we have to always pay attention to the gold distribution. Right now, Zeri is 3-1-3. Super good condition. Cull, while Xayah got some platings bot right, got some CS back because Zeri died top. But it's tricky. Now the key thing is, can Wukong then create a circumstance where he uses the Herald to get Divine Sunderer gold coming into the Drake? It is kind of hard considering how much pressure Zeri and Lulu have in bot. T1 use all of their ultimates so they can actually not create circumstances where they pressure through bot. And Bilibili can just threaten dive, Oner needs to reply, and the Rift Herald can't be used for something great. The smite here from Oner, the smites from Oner were great in this competition. And no follow-up. Oner is now pinging his Divine Sunderer gold. He just wants to find a way to base with the empowered recall, maybe, you know. The fact that he got his camps is a really big deal, even though with the Zeri Lulu prio, it makes a really big difference. But at the same time, I think that Bilibili are aware of the fact that, you know, when they spotted Wukong, that he needs to base with Divine Sunderer. Divine Sunderer is such a big swing that it matters so much. Now, this is looking like a wonderful position here from T1. Lissandra is the perfect champion to have on the flank. The Wukong, the Rakan, something that we talked about in Champion Select. You know, these are some of the dream positions. And ideally, Bilibili, you know, they just walk out of this, right? No flash. Faker ults himself once again. I'm not so sure why. Okay, here I think if he ults Yagao, he just completely 1v9s. Right? He ults Yagao. Yagao has no mercs, no tenacity. He ults Yagao, allows T1 to do the follow-up because Yagao's counter engage here is quite good. Right? Very good. He denies the follow-up of the Wukong and then Shun here undermining the position through the pit. Finds the angle on Wu, and as long as you get the reset on Viego, then the fight is going to be very one-sided. Yagao finding a beautiful counter engage here. You guys know, of course, how Viego also works. He gets some of those resets, he gets the fight going. Faker couldn't find the lethal, on ults himself, flashes as well, and now just the goal distribution. Back to the goal distribution. Lissandra is so far behind, very weak in the game. Xayah cannot keep up with this Zeri, And then, of course, on top of that, the cherry on top of the cake is that the conditions of Yagao is also insanely powerful. We fast forward a little bit. I think that T1 did a very good job of making sure that this game was very interesting. I want to highlight some of those moments from T1 where they managed to find like a lot of breathing room in the game. This is not one of them, because Zeus just got caught and couldn't E over the wall. This fight is bollocks. This fight is bollocks. If create if someone asks me here, right? Breathing room. The point is, Codatious, is the game was very losing for T1, and they managed to buy so much time in a game that was won. You know, that is the point. I think here, if there's a situation where they just finish off Wukong here as they should, right? Wukong is very deep. Like, Ben just needs to burn his abilities on him. He's zoning off Zeus. If they find a circumstance here where they just kill Oner, then it is just a fight that is completely one-sided for Bilibili. El can kite forward, Zeus is out of position, like they can just push forward with the Zeri ultimate. Like, this frame here in time, I think this fight is very losing for T1. But let's just see how it plays out. Because somehow Oner survives with the Q and the R buffer, and then the fight just becomes so split, and they keep chasing. Because if they just kill Wukong there, guys, they kill Wukong, they go to Nash, they pick up the kills that they can, the game is just lost on the spot. Like, Bilibili a little bit too fast and too loose with the way they fight, but that's why we love them. That's why we love them. And now Wukong comes back to deal a little bit of damage, and then the extra range from the W allows Zeus to bonk, and then they get an ace. Bilibili definitely had a very, very winning fight in this spot. And the key issue here, of course, still for T1 is the fact that killing Elk is such a, you know, it's such a it's just, you don't really have clear counterplay. It's like he needs to fuck up in order to die. He has better items, he has Lulu, he has Cleanse, he has Flash. It should be so unrealistic for a red side to kill him. It's like any engage that you want to throw on him, the only main tool that you have is, of course, Wukong. But as long as Lulu is paying attention, then Lulu can deny Wukong as well with the ult. The main thing that kept everything so interesting moving into the rest of the game is just the fact that, you know, Zeus and T1, they managed to get a couple of Drakes. So they are creating this circumstance where they are actively moving towards Soul Point. I don't know what on earth Zeus was thinking here. Like, I don't know if he thinks he's invisible. I think that if he thinks he's invisible, then I think that you can justify this. But I think this is so disrespectful to believe that this is going to lead into anything meaningful at all. Like, he is just trying to throw a dry Gragas ult. That is crazy to me. And now, instantly the enemy is on the back foot. They need to disengage. Zeus use all of his tools, and Bilibili are just looking to pursue more. You can see here the damage of Zeri is definitely crazy with the 4-item core. At this point in the game, Elk, he has burned his flash. The flash of Yagao is also burnt, but they also recognize, yo, we have 4 core, Mikhail's double cleanse, we are way stronger. Any type of fight that they take and is realistically in their favor and the enemy is face checking into you, anything can be one shot. Annie, as long as she stuns Rakan, Wukong, Gragas even, the enemy team is very, very squishy. This is where things are going to get a little bit contentious because Zeri did in fact use ultimate. And T1 are making sure that the flank of Jax is covered. Oner makes a delicious play. Delicious play. It's like Shun is like the W here that he gets it off. I think in a world where the tenacity wasn't bought here for Wukong, I think he just dies on the spot and the game is lost again. Because here the polymorph doesn't get chained together. It's like here Oner gets stunned and then the polymorph lands. And I think if Oner holds the polymorph just a little bit longer and then they follow up with a Viego stun, they can maybe just one-shot. They could just maybe just one-shot. A big detail here is that Faker actually has flash and they combo flash it together. I mean, not flash, smite. Double smite. Instantly. Boom. And that's why they could finish the Nash. Billy on the pursuit. Gumayushi has no more tools in his kit, no flash, no ghost, no gale force. Of course, he's going to die to a Zeri that has a Lulu speed. They get the Nash, but the LCS Drake has been reached. For those who don't know, the LCS Drake is when Drakes go to, of course, the 7th one. Because the LCS teams definitely like those. We continue forward. At this point, still the same issue, right? It's like Gumayushi not running cleanse in the games definitely hit the potential of his itemization. In a world where he has LDR on 4, I think that his damage would have been so much higher because the enemy team like are just buying mercs into armor, right? LDR would have given so much value at this point, especially because the enemy team, like all of them, are quite heavy HP targets. Walking into this fight, all of the favor is in Bilibili's hands. The only thing that they can maybe have as a comfort is the fact that Zeus is like hovering around and he could potentially find a flank. Some people in the chat are talking about Zeri ban, but I think it's more about Lulu ban. I think Lulu ban would have enabled so much more because Lulu is the answer into what they wanted to play, which was Rakan. And I think if the enemy played Rakan first pick, I think you just let Keria play trash, and I think it would have been good. And then you just drop mid pick as you did in every game, and you just pick Wukong, trash, and you just enjoy a game. And I think just Lulu ban, Lulu is for sure the issue, because Lulu wins most matchups level 1, 2, 3. Lulu wins a lot of the matchups that people like to play currently in the 1, 2, 3, and that's how they could find dives on bot. And they just weren't in the right state of mind to defend it. Here I think Yagao makes a mistake. The reason here, right, it's like we talked about this many times. I think if they pull up, like in this position, you need to pull Drake to this spot. Like pull Drake to this spot and then you can turn together. But Yagao turns when Elk can't fight, right? And this is a showcase of the enemy being desync. It's like he's burning all of his juice here, but no one can really fight. It's very important that you fight in unison. I think if they pulled out the Drake and the enemy tries to cross into Pixel, that's where you can turn. Maybe you have Annie here, maybe you play with the pockets, right? And in the end, it just didn't happen. Oner then steals, which is an additional layer as to why you want to, of course, pull it out, and then T1 get the soul. Key detail here is, of course, Yagao already used ult, and Bilibili is now running into T1. I think if Elk pulled out the Drake and Yagao didn't pull the trigger when Elk was on mid, on the Drake, I think it would have been a lot better, because this fight is very winning for T1. I mean, for Bilibili, I think. Now the Ocean Soul is, of course, very impactful, and in a world where Bilibili are looking for these type of turns, this doesn't really work. They don't have like good ways of turning. They were turning with a Viego W. I think in a world where they look to pressure on Nash instead and then find flanks with Jax and maybe Annie W, I think it would have been better if they want to kind of leverage the fact that they have a better position. But instead they are just moving into the Zaya Feathers, and the reply from Keria here is pretty decent. Here Faker buys. I thought this was kind of crazy what Faker is doing, the fact that he's posturing forward on the pink. It played out well, but I thought that it's not necessary what he's doing here. I think the reason why this is even remotely viable is that Gumayushi has actually managed to kill Shun. I think in a world where Shun is posturing a little bit away from this wall, so Gumayushi can't free hit, then I think Faker could die here for free. But he buys a lot of time with the ultimate, the Ocean Soul is ticking, and then the Zhonya's, which then gives him time to finish off Shun, which is a very, very big deal in this spot. They get the Nash. And all of a sudden this game, holy shit, is T1 about to make a miraculous comeback and then win the series due to the momentum. If Bilibili can't win with such an advantage, how are they going to win? How are they going to win? Let's take a look at this one on mid. Key thing here, right, is that Oner goes for the engage here on Elk, and the follow-up is just not quick enough. He cleanses, flashes out, and that's it, you know. There's no more fight. There's no more fight. Elk already used sums, but if you continue fighting, you have given the enemy value out of those sums. Zeri now, even though she has no flash, she's hitting for free, and you can see just how much damage she does because, of course, she has 6 items. So much damage. I think in a world where they actually manage to kite back here, because like Faker's follow-up is very poor, right? Very poor. They're not playing for Gumayushi. I think in a world where they burn the flash and they can actually reset the fight and play for Gumayushi would have been a lot better. But the issue is that they are giving targets for Zeri to hit, and Bilibili are not giving Gumayushi targets to hit. And now Zeri, just a pop-off moment, finding hits. Of course, Oner dying here. This is just the Elk show, and you can just push her forward. Nothing can kill him. This Ocean Soul doesn't matter at all, because the damage that Elk does is just way too much. If you look at this moment, right? I think if there's a scenario where Faker just doesn't E in, and they try to... like, the issue is, it's like they already flashed in with Gragas, and... you know, I'm just looking at this fight and like Gumayushi can't really hit. It's like he's hitting Annie now. Honestly, maybe he just can't win. Maybe he just can't win against Zeri. Like Zeri Lulu, I don't see the solution actually to winning this fight. There's no solution. I think you have to fish with maybe like Faker E-Flash into Zeri. They have Mikhails, they have Cleanse. I don't think he makes a difference there. And that's game. That's game. Things got a little bit sweaty, but in the end it didn't matter. Stun landed. Oner could maybe smite the golem. I mean the little cannon minion, but I think the debuff lasted long enough. And that's it. I don't think Lulu should be in range to get CC'd by Lissandra. But we move on to the next game. So game number 2. Bilibili go now on red side. They ban Lucian, Annie, Keisante, and then T1 pull off this draft where they ban Vi, Wukong, Gwen, and first pick Maokai. I think the main issue with this, right, is once again, it's like if you pick Maokai, you are forcing your mid laner to play Tristana Jace. Or you have to blind pick AD top, which is very hard. That in itself makes Maokai a lot weaker. Unless you're willing to do something like T1 did in this particular game. Sorry, this is the wrong game. This game. Here they had Keisante. Sure, makes a little bit of difference in terms of damage distribution, but they just went Maokai Karma. Keisante does do physical damage, so I guess it's a little bit different. It's not quite the same, but I feel like at some point, like if you really want to pick Maokai, then just fucking slam other stuff, you know? And I think picking Nautilus is like, you have to think to yourself, what is better, you know? It's like Nautilus, Blitz, I think they kind of serve the same purpose, but Blitzcrank, I think he scales just a little bit better because together with Maokai, it's very easy to create circumstances where someone's rooted and you get the pull. And additionally, I think Blitzcrank, of course, when you hook, you don't actually commit anything. And I think that Keria had one of the best Blitzcrank performances ever. So it's like considering Blitzcrank here on 3, I think would be interesting, especially with the combo with Maokai. But still, the issue is, I think if you pick Maokai, you need to be willing to like just play this full AD comp and not give a shit. Another key point here is, of course, Jinx and Lulu and Sion. They get picked 1, 2, 3. So we know already that the bot gap strat is going to happen. It's coming. Whether you like it or not, buddy. Does Maokai want to be solo AP? No, I don't think Maokai cares too much about solo AP or not. I think it's more about Merc's value. Merc's value is the key thing. I don't care too much if the enemy buys magic resistance with Maokai. It's more about Merc's. It double dips in the value because it has MR and tenacity, right? That is like a more crucial detail. But once again, it's like fake it on Jace is not something that I really believe in. And then picking Cannon into Sion isn't ideal. And I feel like here already in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like T1 is so much weaker early. So the level 1 invade is going to happen no matter what. Here Kindred gets picked, which is kind of surprising. We expected kind of a Sejuani pick here on 4. And then they could still go for the Sylas if that was the case. Sylas has some good ults, you know, with the Cannon and the Maokai. You know, this is more of a comfort pick more than anything else, right? It's like Jace doesn't look so comfortable here, and then Sylas is here. Let's continue to game number 2. Look at some of those details that we talked about. Like here, I think we managed to see. We managed to see like one of the weakest, one of the craziest decisions or like plays in all time. And when we get there, you will know. The invade is coming, plain and simple. They're just invading. Completely normal. They have better champs. They have Sylas with D. Everything is favorable for Billy. There's nothing that can be done. The counterplay that T1 was looking for is to just fight to the death with AD carry and support, while Maokai does Wolves to just buy time. So they clear the ward, and then Keria and Gumayushi is going to connect together with the Maokai, while Jinx and Lulu is on the wave. So they ward, they know the enemy doesn't have a sweep, and now On and Elk are showing that they're going into bottom side. So you see now Keria and Gumayushi are now syncing together with Oner to contest their camps. So they're pulling the red to just make it reset. They're pulling the red just to buy more time. And now Oner is coming, and Shun and Bin decide to go for the crabs. Another thing that Treats mentioned on call, which is kind of good, is what Cannon could have done if he knows the strat is coming, which they do know, right? Cannon can just go behind the wave, pull the wave, not kill it. You don't necessarily need to kill it. You just need to hit it. You pull the wave, and then your own wave is going to make it to the enemy tower, and then the wave is going to die so much faster. And then you walk away from the wave, you last hit the minions, and then make the wave giga slow push into you. And then you can leverage an advantage. Then you have a little nice freeze. A little bit of a singe tech. But here, just because T1 and Maokai and of course Keria contested here, and Shun doesn't have level 3, additionally Lulu doesn't have level 3, the dive becomes very unrealistic. Another key detail here about Keria and the XP distribution is Keria is gonna get level 2. Solo XP is amazing, he's getting that wave, he's getting the solo XP, you can see that his XP is popping, and then now Keria is level 2. And this changes the whole dynamic of the dive. But in the end, you've traded Sion advantage against Cannon, which is a very big deal, for bot lane advantage. Because Gumayushi hasn't even looked at a minion in the eye. But here, diving Keria is very unrealistic. They have spells, and it's just not going to happen. Right? It's not going to happen. So yeah, Gumayushi now, half HP, walks to the wave, doesn't even get level 2. Like, he's kind of screwed. But the same thing happens top. Bin is level 1 against a level 3 Cannon, so it's a trade-off. But in the context of the meta, we do like it when bot lanes are ahead. Especially in Aphelios Nautilus, if they lose all their teeth and they can't queue in, they're going to slowly eat a pile of shit. Another key detail here is, of course, Maokai doesn't have any camps bot side. So he needs to cross into top to keep busy. He can't defend his bot. So what does this Kindred do? Of course, his bot lane is stronger, they can create waves on bot, I'm gonna go for more bot dives. How did he get level 2 on first 6 CS? Did they kill a ward? They did kill a ward, yes. They killed the ward right behind the golems. So that was the 6 minions, right? Now Shun, he's taking his wolves. Look what a good boy he is. Goes into mid. Faker manages to survive without the use of flash. See how I emphasize without the use of flash, he kept flash. I think I'm confusing one of the games. I thought they would actively look for bot dive, but I think I'm confusing this game with a different game because there was no bot dive that happened, so forgive me. Here in this situation, I think after they did this damage on Oner, already it's winning, right? Why is it winning? Because Oner is out and they just need to make sure that Sion can push. It's like Sion is allowed to push and crash this wave, and Shun then invades here together with Yagao because Faker's conditions and Oner's conditions are very, very bad. It's super good. Super good. But they pursue, and Zeus flashes over the wall, tags with the E to get the energy and get the Q in, and then the stun, and then the Faker with the follow-up damage on Kindred is death. Here Ben probably could play better to just kill Zeus, because he like just plays the Q kind of weird. But I think just the over pursuit, because it's a question of frames here, right? It's like the moment Oner loses this HP right here, they are kind of fucked. But as they pursue further, Oner then flashes to make sure he doesn't get eaten by Yagao, and then they commit, and then Sion is very late to this because of course he's getting fucked by the cannon. We continue. This one was also crazy to me. It's like, Faker, you kept your flash, you did such a good job, but the fact that he never flashes here is just... Like, Yagao does a good job of holding the E, but you need to be able to flash that E, you know? You need to flash this E. This is not okay. Not okay. We continue. You see that the top conditions are completely fucked because it's like in this moment where Bin died on blue, right? And they flashed in. The wave was freezing top. The wave was freezing top. Cannon is in a delicious position. He comes back to a big ass wave, has XP advantage, gold advantage. It is a disaster for Bin. He is really not having a good time. Felio's Nautilus, they managed to consolidate a little bit, but they are still, you know, in a tough spot. Because XP disadvantage, gold disadvantage, and they want to be able to pressure in this lane, because they do get outskilled. It's funny that people talk about champions, it's like, every mid lane at this tournament played unskilled champs, don't you think? Everyone played unskilled champs this tournament. That's just mid-meta. It's fine to critique Faker. I think that's perfectly fair, but let's talk about it. Let's give the fair criticism, right? So okay, this is where Eric just channels his inner London and bends it like Beckham. The W hits. The fact that Gumiushi with his body pushes this minion down is such a ridiculous interaction. This to me is hilarious. The fact that it happens in such a crucial game. It is insanity. Crazy. And then here Oner with the Q to push the Jinx out. I don't understand why they increased the Q distance that you push people. It's kind of crazy, don't you guys think? It was kind of, this guy flew. He flew so far. So I have a 1-for-1 in the end. But once again, same thing. Jinx gets a kill, Maokai gets a kill. All kills are not made the same. Here, this is a very crucial moment in the game because Bilibili are now one wave behind on this lane swap. So a key detail, right, is currently Aphelios has a wave, right? Aphelios has a full wave, which means that he's one wave ahead. Additionally, white and red is hiding behind this purple and blue, right? And the key mistake here that I can tell you guys from the lane swap days, I have a lot of, I guess, useful information now, is that right now, Gumayushi is one full wave ahead, but he doesn't know where the enemy is, right? He doesn't know exactly if the enemy is swapping or matching. He's one wave ahead now, but these minions are gonna die. And right now, these minions are rather low, so this is the same tempo, right? But the key detail here is the Rift Herald. The Rift Herald, and now Gumayushi is hitting with white-red. So now they know the information on Jinx, and now they're gonna go into bot and hit. But the very important detail here is the fact that if you create a circumstance where you base on Maokai Nautilus, then you can then push out the Jinx on top and you can really mess with their tempo, because Aphelios doesn't need to be handheld to kill this turret. Maokai can stick around to praise Herald, but if they base and defend top, the last platings are going to be so tanky. Zeus has to flash, make sure he doesn't get CC'd. If he gets CC'd here, maybe Lulu ults, the polymorph, he could die. Very important that he doesn't die. Now you see that Nautilus, for some reason, is sticking bot and sharing platings. I think this is really bad. I think that Nautilus should have just based even before. He should have based way earlier. And now Maokai is just staying to punch to make sure that he can place the Herald, but now he should base too. If he bases and Cannon and Nautilus can re-enter into topside and defend, things would have been a lot more better. But it just didn't happen. And now they're committing to this idea of getting the enemy tier 2, but Sion is basing. Sion is basing and is going to go into bot. And now the same thing. You see Lulu, Kindred, they're both basing. They're both basing because they want to defend the tier 2 bot. Because they see that the enemy is hard committing. Maokai is committing. Nautilus is committing. Just because Maokai is hitting the bot turret, they know that they can leave Jinx here on her lonesome. And they can re-enter bot. This is not good. They could have been the one that base with the better tempo because they break the turret faster and Jinx needs to keep hitting. Then Maokai, Cannon and Nautilus can re-enter Aphelios bases and limps in. If Jinx wants to stay in that moment, then Aphelios is going to walk out on the map with bigger items and Jinx would have been so greedy to take this full turret. So in case instead of a opportunity where things would have been better, they actually managed to create a circumstance where Elk somehow manages to get a full turret. So they're continuing here, and Sion cannot get dove. Lulu is right behind him. Why did Lulu base? Because she sees Maokai hitting the turret, which means that Jinx doesn't need help. They just leave Kindred to take the camps, she takes the camps, and Kindred can then deny the re-entry of Cannon. Now Cannon goes back top, but the turret is already gone. And once again, look at that gold distribution. Look at the gold distribution. Jinx has 5k gold, 1000 gold advantage. She got the solo turret, she got majority solo plates, and she had an advantage from before, of course, with the kill. But these things matter so fucking much, especially when Lulu is in the game. When Jinx Lulu is in the game, everything is about making sure that they're ahead. But in a world where they take tier 1 bot with the Herald and the Maokai and the Nautilus bases and they push out top on Jinx, then everything is going to be better and Aphelios can actually breathe in the game. Now you see as well, this is where Sion commits to a good death. It's like all vision is put into bottom side and Billy off of their base just opened mid with Jinx and then they collapsed on top. Because Cannon wants to push out and Maokai and Nautilus based and open on bot side. Once again, they haven't secured the Cannon. The key difference here, right, why Sion is so good. Why Sion is so good in the context of these situations where you're split mapping. Sion can have good deaths. He's tough to dive, he has an ult that can let him escape, and his passive allows him to kill minions. Here he managed to kill Cannon. He has no flash from before, as we mentioned. And Sion is on bot wave, clearing the whole bot wave, and the Maokai and Nautilus had shit tempo. They had shit tempo from before. They didn't base and they were pushing for this tier 2 and they really couldn't. Very, very bad macro mistake here by T1. We continue. Now at this point, very big issue is that Jace dying to that gank and being behind the curve. It's like Jace Tristana, they're really like 10 CS, 12 CS per minute champs. My nose is so itchy, I don't know why. I think it's because my nose is a bit dry. They are like Jace is just too useless. It's like Jace is too useless. You have a circumstance where your AD carry doesn't have Mythic against Jinx, Mythic, Lulu. Team fighting here is impossible. Sylas is too tanky, Sion is too tanky, and it's a no-go. And this is where craziness happens. I think it's better to just look at the replay, because the replay is one of the most absurd moments I've seen in a major region game, because both teams are major regions. But this is absurd. Really, really absurd. There's no way to explain this. There's no way to explain this. My man got possessed by a gold player. This is crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Really, it's crazy. I have never seen a mistake of this level. I've not seen a mistake of this level. I have not seen a mistake of this level. This is crazy. Insanity, man. And when you get a solo kill like this, as Sion, you know how much XP you get? That is crazy. Really, really, I feel bad. I feel bad for him, because this must have been I don't know, just a brain fart of the craziest proportion. And now, everything that has happened to Sion is a non-factor. Look at him. He has Yagao, he's chilling. He's fucking tanky, the Sion. There's a non-factor. He's ahead on XP, he's decent in the game. It's crazy. Really crazy. So with the W on bot and the kill on mid with the Jace non-flash and then the cannon on top getting picked into Sion, it's like, draft-wise, you don't have any ins. You just don't have any ins. And the enemy is just picking Lulu on cooldown. Think in a situation where, they picked Ahri and an AD top lane, I think things would have been better. I even think so far to just be I would even prefer the Jace on top and just an AP mid. I think it would have been more preferable. And then the Blitz, of course, I think is also a very nice addition. But now we're just playing a game where, what can T1 really do with their comp? It's like Jace needs 4 items to be useful. To do anything to the Sylas and the Sion, of course. It's just this game is kind of over. They might not be ahead by much, but it's once again the same thing as always. It's like, look how much gold this Jinx has in the pocket. And sure, this Maokai is rich, he's buying random summon, but do you really give a shit? You don't. He's not going to carry the game. He's not going to buy damage. He's not going to carry the game. Right? Smooth sailing for Billy Billy. Now we're going to get, the T1 Classic where they just try to force an Ashe. Because what else can they really do in the game? You see, 3 core versus 2 core. There is no hidden gold that you can find in your jungle or something that is going to allow you to catch up. The enemy needs to make crucial mistakes for that to happen. Yagao is level 16. My man's level 16, dude. He's level 16 because of Road of Ages and being so far ahead in the game. Yeah, really plain and simple. They just send Kindred to do Cloud, and the enemy team can't really force on 4 even. Cloud Soul is in the making, and T1 don't even have great Nash damage. They have purple-white stuff. Billy, plain and simple, they called them out for their bullshit. I think maybe Zeus could have flashed earlier, right? Maybe they could have flashed earlier here on the Oner all in, but you know, Kindred's coming in and there's just a wallet gap. You know, the soul comes in, and as long as Elk stays alive, all is good. I really would pay attention to Elk, how he just stays outside of the range of the cannon ult. It's so beautiful. Look at that. Like, look how it just dances around the cannon range. Flashes, hits, keeps in range the entire time. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Elk is an amazing player. Fantastic player. Let's head into game number 3. Game number 3. T1's on the ropes. T1's on the rope, and T1 decide we can't fucking play Maokai. We can't play into Maokai, we can't play versus Maokai, we have to ban Wukong, we have to ban Vi, we're back to step 1. We're banning every jungler in the game. Banning every jungler in the game. Banning every jungler in the game. Lucian, Annie, Jinx. They suspected that the enemy is going to first pick Jinx because Billy have one core draft issue, right? Is that they don't play K'Sante. It's like the issue that Billy face tomorrow is the fact that JDG play K'Sante, they play Ahri, and they have a lot of more champion depth. And they will have a way higher prior on Lulu. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if we get first pick Lulu, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if they first pick Lulu tomorrow. Lulu X can win most bot matchups. Yeah, tomorrow is at 1 o'clock. So, K'Sante gets first pick. And by far, Faker in the previous series as well, the K'Sante game that he played was really fucking good. K'Sante is by far his best champion, and I think that Faker played the best K'Sante mid that we saw all tournament long. Right? Better than Chovy, better than Knight. K'Sante gets picked and the enemy locks in Gwen, which is kind of psychopath. Like, picking Gwen like this is complete psycho. I don't know what the plan is here. Maybe they think in a scenario where... Maybe they think a scenario where they go 4-5. Like, maybe... in mid, they're like, we can't pick anything mid before we know K'Sante's mid for sure. Maybe this is the thought process. So they just slam Gwen. And then they can drop 4-5 with Gwen because they know ZayaraKhan is coming. Or Blitzcrank Aphelios. And then they can ban for Gwen. So Lulu gets picked, obviously, because they have Zeri and Aphelios. They can play both on 3. They pick Lulu. Big surprise. Then we go ZayaraKhan. ZayaraKhan, once again, not super easy against Lulu Zeri. Not super easy. This time around, they did manage to find some great openings. And they managed to get some kills. Billy decided to ban Cannon Gragas for 5. And plain and simple, T1 just say, fuck off. We're just gonna play full AD comp. We don't care. Buy all the Ninja Tabis you want. You're already showing Kindred, Zeri, Lulu, Gwen. You're gonna buy Ninja Tabi. You think you're gonna win with Ninja Tabi? We don't give a fuck. We're gonna go full AD comp. We're gonna go Kha'Zix and Jax. I thought maybe they're gonna look for AP here. I thought maybe this is gonna be a Rumble game. But Kha'Zix against Kindred and a lot of squishies is definitely really good, right? One of the better Kha'Zix spots that we saw all tournament long. So, they pick Jax. And Jax is wonderful already into so many basic attackers and also really good into Gwen. Right? Really good into Gwen. Galio gets picked on 5. In this game, Billy decided, yo, we're gonna send Gwen into K'Sante and then Galio into Jax. And Galio into Jax isn't like some easy matchup for Galio. Like, it's not some counter. I think Jax enjoys himself there, actually. And then the key thing, once again, is Lulu, Zeri, Kindred. Can they create circumstances where they dive bot? Let's check out the game. Here in this game, K'Sante and Jax get immense value. I think Xayah Rakan, I think that even though Galio is fine into Rakan, I think the value it gets against Xayah is definitely like a lot less. A lot less. So I think just comp-wise here, blue side really has an easy time. I think that, you know, we were screaming, like if they pick Poppy here on 4, I think that's juicy, you know? I think that's juicy. A little Poppy on 4 here, jungle, into Rakan, Kesante showing. That's amazing. But evidently Bilibili don't play Poppy, right? They just don't play Poppy, don't want to play Poppy. Because they have had an even better Poppy spot later in the cities. They refuse to play Poppy. Maybe they go home today and play some Poppy and solo queue, right? In preparation for tomorrow. Because you big Poppy on 4, you defend your Gwen from a lot of the matchups. And already the enemy team is showing Rakan and Kesante. But Kindred gets picked and then they go Galio for the Kindred. Right? No Babushka. Yeah, we have the lane swap, Bin mid into Kesante. This is what he wants to play. But we have Galio against Zeus, and Zeus is also quite happy. Fantastic trades here on bot for Bilibili. They're very healthy on Elk, and Xayah still has only 1 potion. I think that Rakan W'd, and then they just healed, and then dodged the W and just hit all in on the Gumayushi, hitting together. Yeah, I thought Poppy was good on blue. Not so much. It's like it's fine, right? It's fine. I think Kha'Zix is also decent, you know? Kha'Zix is decent here. It's like definitely one of the better Kha'Zix games. So this sequence is absolutely delicious. It's like Oner is crossing into bot side, but he gets spotted by Shun. So Shun did three bot side camps, and now Kha'Zix did 3 bot side camps, and then they looked for a bot gank. But he spotted him. The beauty of Shun's playstyle in going for the bot dive is that he accomplishes 2 things at the same time. He pressures the enemy, and also he secures his bot lane to play as psycho as possible. So here Shun does such a good loop around here where he finds Oner and makes sure that he can't cross into the bottom turret. Because now the whole situation is reversed. Oner wanted to gank bot and punish the fact that they had no ghost, no heal with the Gumayushi Rakan lane, right? But the follow-up is just so damn delicious. And now he's cutting him off. And now he's just Wing him. And he just finds that the timer is so nice. It's so good. Like, this is so high-level gameplay. It's really, really beautiful. And then those trades from before. It's like Keria and Gumayushi were trading hard to set up the Kha'Zix level 3 gank. But Bilibili were just 1 step ahead. And keep in mind, this hurts so damn much for Oner. Because Oner has 3 topside camps. Kha'Zix doesn't want to base on Longsword. It's terrible for Kha'Zix. Terrible. And here they see with this ward that Shun placed in the lane that Oner is crossing in, and then they don't need to do the dive anymore. And the beauty of this is, even in a scenario where Oner defended the dive, the value is immense. Because Shun can stay on bottom side. Elk and On can keep pressuring. They can keep harassing Gumayushi and keep him in the lane. And then, anytime there's another dive situation, Kindred can just stop what he's doing and go into bot again. Easy peasy. Kha'Zix needs to peace out and do his topside camps. He can't stick around. He just can't. He just can't stick around. If he sticks around, let's say Kha'Zix stayed here. You think Kha'Zix will be so unhealthy in the game. It's a disaster. And now he's just going again. He did the crab, there's a bot dive, polymorph into ZZ. On tanks, it's just a repeat. It's just a repeat. Is that really diveable 3v2? It is. Can you attribute this macro success to Tabe taking over as a coach? I think on stream, it's like I've seen this dive happen many times. And what the team that sticks out to me the most in regards to this is JDG. And I think that Bilibili have just learned from losing against JDG. If you guys look at the finals, Bilibili versus JDG, this is what JDG did to them on cooldown. And they looked at those games and like, fuck, we need to reform ourselves. And they have. JDG got stomped by Bilibili, right? I mean, Bilibili got stomped by JDG, sorry. And they got dove bot on cooldown. After that, they restructured themselves, right? It's insane to adapt so quickly. Well, it's also that JDG and Bilibili in preparation for this tournament probably scrimmed each other as well. Because regionally, that's who they have access to. I really don't think the most OP champion in the meta right now is Jinx. I think the most OP champion right now in the meta is Lulu. I think Lulu is. And that's it. You can play Lulu Jinx, Lulu Aphelios. You can play Lulu Zeri. And you have good matchup into every other thing that's in the game. The main edge that T1 had is of course the Lucian Nami, but it's just permabanned. Thank you, Gibson. Appreciate it. Thank you, Gibson. Here, Bilibili, they thought that Zyra can based after pushing out, but with the freeze being there and Erk freezing like this, of course the dynamic changes. Lulu now with no flash because he used it when he got dove is now in danger. He's pushing way too far forward and he didn't expect that T1 actually stayed. So this was a very clever play here. T1 solved their situation, but it was also the only out. If On plays defensive, you will have a situation where the freeze is here and Xayah, Rakan don't have a base yet, so the tempo advantage will be big. This was crazy for the game. Yo, Gibson, thank you very much. Do you think
Gibson1709 donated $10. You are welcome. Do you think BLG or JDG will win the final?
I think tomorrow JDG will win the final. But I also add that I've been wrong in my last two predictions. So I do think JDG is much better when it comes to, like, much better than the other opposition when it comes to diving and pressuring bot. The whole meta is about getting your bot ahead, and JDG did it better against T1. And I think that Kanavi is insanely fucking good. And don't get me started on ruler and missing, you know? On top of that, I think that JDG have a massive edge with the idea that, you know, their mid laner actually plays every champion that is OP on the patch. And I think that's important too, right? It's like he plays Ahri, Annie, K'Sante. The list is longer than, of course, Yagao's list. This is a miracle. They just have to pull it out a little bit more, and then, you know, you don't have a chance for this. I say it over and over again. Pull out your Drakes. Pull out your Drakes, guys. Pull out your Drakes for Harambe. No dive. But you have On. Just pushing forward a little bit too hard. It's also that kill from before, right? It's like the wave was frozen, and Elk got such a big wave. And now On is level 3. Oman's level 3. And they just find another kill. Very crucial, you know? Very nice play here because Rakan goes out of range and then utilizes the E extended range. And then when you E your Xayah, you are in, like Gumiushi finds this and W's forward. On is, of course, mispositioning. Okay? Really, really good here by T1 to find these advantages because now the dynamic of the game changes again. It's like the gold is in Xayah's pockets. They have managed to also secure that one Drake that was taken by the enemy. Now they're in a great spot for the game. Right? They're not getting... They did get Dove bot, but the conversion there from On was very poor. Here in this Rift Herald fight, we see that it's a little bit of rusty gameplay from Yagao. Yagao is hovering down and Jax is in prime conditions to fight. Here, if they manage to CC chain Kha'Zix and one-shot him, things are going to look good. But it's way easier for T1 to choose an isolated target and one-shot that target. Okay? You see that there's a contention in the river. Xayah, Rakan and Lulu Zeri are both trying to connect to this fight. and they're just running past each other. Lulu is no flash, so she has to run the long route. And here, I think that Zeus plays this so damn well. You know, the issue is Yagao needs... Basically, it's like they're not fighting in unison. And in the split fights, Billy lose. Here, Zeus, he does a very clever choice. A lot of Jax players are just going to E instantly. But he holds his E. He holds his E, and then he pops his E just in time to survive low and not get the third hit from the Kindred, which is beautiful. Really, really good. Elk managed to pick up 2 kills, but this fight is not over just yet. We saw also Faker doing one of the prettiest Q3s that I've seen in all of Kisan's lifetime. Look at this Q3 here from Faker. Boom! He gets him and then autos him on the wall with the extended range. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Elk jumps over because, you know, he has Berserker Greaves and he ghosted to join into this fight, gets 2 kills and he's popping. Keria with the flash knows that Elk, of course, is not running cleanse and flash RWs. Gets him. And then eventually Elk is going to be dying. Keria is going to get the kill. But in terms of how everything played out, you know, relatively even, all things considered. We continue. Some more gold in Zeri's pocket, so she's keeping up with the Zeri Lulu combo, of course. And Kindred managed to cure the Herald. Not sure why Shun decides to be in the top side at this point. The enemy team in T1, they have full vision on bot side, so they know that Kindred is in top side. And all that Jax is doing is just clearing the camps, making sure he doesn't die to a gank, because he has no flash. And T1 just leash the Herald. Very solid play, good play. We fast forward. Let's find some deeper moments in the game. Everything was about Drake setups in the end. I have to say as well, T1, they got the smite on Infernal. And then they get the Hextech Drake. They couldn't have dreamed of better Drake spawns. The Hearst Drake was so big for the game. Insanely big. Zeus bought a lot of space. It's like he pulled Billy all the way back, right? Pulled Billy all the way back, and that allows T1 this entry. You see that everyone is posturing in this arc, as talked before. If this Drake gets pulled into the pit again, then you see this spot here that the opposition needs to funnel themselves through these chokes. Shun over postures and uses his W to push out Rakan. But Rakan then did his job right. He's just kiting back, tethering back, and allowing his team to take the space when the enemy does too much to go for the space. Really beautiful dance here by T1 to kind of bait the enemy in and then to, you know, really, play around with the space. Here I thought Fake is a little bit crazy for going here. Lulu, I don't know if Lulu W'd Elk right in this spot, right? Maybe in a scenario where they have the W for Faker, he's unstoppable. Maybe the W him, maybe things can look a little bit different, but Faker gets so much value here. So much value. Yagao as well, I think Galio is probably the last champion you want to be flanking with. I think that unless you're planning to like flash W over the wall through this spot, I think that what Yagao is doing is kind of strange. I think that he can get more value by being on his teammates and then R'ing, right? If necessary. And then he doesn't get the W off. The Everfrost lands, and then he ults, but it's too late, and he's just in the pit now, in big trouble, no flashing over the wall, and the continuation here is, of course, that T1 is going to win the fight. Yeah, Faker got so much value in this fight, like, insane amount of value. I thought he was a psychopath for going, but the fact that he got out was too intense, too big, and now they have some of the strongest Drakes in the game. Still a lot of gold on Zeri Lulu, right? So that is the only thing that might make things contentious in this game. But T1 managed to get the top turret, the bot turret, Drake, a clean ace. Not clean, they give 2 kills, but, you know. We continue. Yeah, I felt T1 were kind of like overdoing it in terms of looking for the fight, but they were just slapping the enemy with their wallet, right? They are so strong in this game. Jack's conditions are amazing. Faker is too strong, right? Their composition has just scaled better. I think this is, of course, really, really overdoing it. I think that they can just play in the pocket more where the enemy has to cross into them through the choke point. They can play for soul. They don't need to look for these fights. I think they just give Zeri gold for no reason. Zeri now walked into this fight with a full completed LDR. The next one, I believe. T1 secure soul. But this game is just, for the most part, really, really over. And to be fair, you know, like, people talk about this bot dive, but it's like if you look at Mad versus, or I'm trying to find this. I think it was this game.
That helps him out, so
It's like this strategy is very common, you know? If you're stronger and you can push out the enemy jungler and you have information, you fucking pressure dive, right? We basically did the Sion strat without Sion, as you guys can see on the screen, right? And this was last year. And we also did it the year before. It is a common strategy. This has been true for the game for a long time, right? Obviously our champions are a little bit more skewed towards the dive, but it's the same principle, right? Right? Our champ is a little bit more skewed towards his idea, but you can do the same with other champs too.
Experience because Zanzar is responding, not really getting anything back in return. They might get caught off guard here though, Fnatic. Level 3 on the Trundle though, so that helps.
Just look how this ends. Look, they're fucked. How can they lane? Like they can't cross. They can't cross.
This is the same as Mad Lions and Mad Lions and Rogue series when Mad Lions were playing the Kalista. They just zoned them away from the tower.
This is a new type of proxy farming that I have not seen before.
Someone call bounce. Baby.
Look, Zeri is 2 CS by the way. The game is over. The game is over. Sejuani is here, but what does Sejuani do? And now they TP, and now they peace out. Now Zanzara, he doesn't have Q by the way. And the game is just lost. But it's the same idea, right? It's like, we late invade, we're stronger on the late invade, and then GG. What should a Misfit have done? They can't do anything, we're stronger.
Took a page out of G2's book, went for the late invade bot side, but Misfit's ready to respond, so
we're stronger.
learning curve there from last weekend's games.
This play had no counterplay by the way. You could push mid, push top, and TP. That was the counterplay. But then you TP and you fuck your lane, right? So we always got value. Always got value.
Good news for them on this split map is
What you could see is EDG versus Fnatic. Here you could see the counterplay. Obviously we griefed, okay? Obviously we griefed. Obviously we griefed because after Victor flashes, we should sniff it, right? This is the counterplay. They're committing 5-man to defend. They're committing 5-man to defend. But in scrims, you know what we were doing? We were committing with Wunder too. Like, we just went here with Wunder as well. And that's what we were doing. I think we did that in a competitive game. Here's Dragoon. The whole gang is here. The whole gang is here. And now we're in trouble. Now we're in big trouble. Yeah. I'm just saying, like... I'm just saying, this whole idea about diving bot, it's like, it's been a thing for quite some time, you know? This game is kind of over. it's hard to actually do in a stage game. What do you mean? Are you talking from experience? Because I can say from experience that this is just not true. Alright, let's take a look at game 4, guys. It's like, there's no randomness to it. There's no randomness to it at all. It's like they spotted Kha'Zix, they played around Kha'Zix, they didn't dive because they had Kha'Zix information, but that was still a valuable play. So here, I thought for sure, I thought 100% they're gonna ban Lulu. I just thought they're gonna ban Lulu. And then after Lulu ban, I thought, okay, they're gonna give up Annie and then play Zyra, Khan, Wukong and be happy with the trade. I thought that was the move. I thought that was going to be the move. I really thought they're gonna ban Lulu. I really thought that would be the adaptation. But they banned Maokai, Vi, Annie. I just think it was such a miss here by T1 to be stuck with these jungle bans the entire tournament. I feel like this is something that they needed to adjust between the days. They were banning junglers every game. Every game they were banning junglers. And nothing changed. Nothing changed. And, you know, the crazy thing here, like JDG, do you guys see how disrespectful JDG was against T1? Look how disrespectful they were. They pick Jinx Rakan. They're like, these guys are not pressuring us. We're gonna play Jinx Rakan. It's kind of disrespectful, if I'm gonna be honest. Very disrespectful. Alright. So Rakan, Wukong, Xayah, they run back the exact same draft. I know people like to meme on Nautilus, but the thing is, it's like, when Annie is out, K'Sante is out, and both mid lanes are refusing to play Ahri, besides this game 4, then like, what other mid lanes do you want to play? The Nautilus is a fine mid. Really. Nautilus is a fine mid. So what about what jungler it gets paired with? Is the jungle gonna be useful? That's very important and crucial. And then of course it matters, you know, how do you play it? It's like, if you're going to play poorly, then of course the champion is gonna perform poorly. You don't pick Nautilus and then you automatically win, you know? So, Rakan, Wukong, Xayah. And this game was such a great example of Xayah ult not countering Nautilus. Because it goes in a way where Nautilus ult can force Xayah ult. And Xayah ult was way more crucial. Kindred Nidalee gets banned and Ken and Lissandra, and the funniest thing happened in this game, guys. Just, I thought, wow, they're going to slam Poppy here and completely 1v9. Look at that, they're just hovering the Poppy because they know. But evidently, probably Shun didn't practice it a lot. Like, looking at these 4 champs, I don't know how the fuck they operate against Papushka. Like, it looks really hard. Reminds me a lot of this game, right? It's like T1 versus Fnatic 2022. I'm kind of going back to down the triple memory lane. It's like, look at this game. Look at the turbo draft, by the way. The turbo draft. The enemy goes Akali, and they go Aphelios. I know Thresh is coming, and we pick Poppy. What happens is, Poppy masks all of the Aatrox problems. All of the counters into Aatrox are bad against Poppy. And we pick Azir, and we drop bot. For some reason, thank God, T1 didn't ban Lucian Nami. Very bad dry preppers. And we get Lucian Nami 4-5. He picks Viego, we go Lucian Nami, and there's the Jax. And this is a dream draft, right? It's like blue side draft is so fucking strong here, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the poppy value is delicious. Absolutely delicious. But they choose not to go poppy. This is a very hard Kha'Zix game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, playing Kha'Zix here is very difficult. Playing Kha'Zix against Wukong, Rakan, Xayah, Jax, it's like so tough. What would you have done if they banned Nami or Lucian? We would probably play like some Misfortune lane, maybe. Like some Misfortune lane. Maybe a Kalista lane, something like this, you know? And now finally they went Ahri. Faker on Ahri, it's one. Helena, are you trolling? Are you trolling? They lost. They lost, Angel. That's fine. He did play well, to be fair. I thought they're going to pick Ahri on 4 or Gragas on 4 and then choose after that. Maybe a little Gragas mid, maybe. You know? You know, maybe that's an angle. Maybe a little Swain into Nautilus, something like this, right? So it's like, I thought they're gonna go Ahri on 4, but they picked Jax because, okay, we just want to slam Jax and not let the enemy pick Jax, and he just doesn't want to play Gragas again. Okay, he goes Jax. It is what it is, right? Jax is fine into Zeri, right? Fine into Nautilus. I get it. Okay. We have Jax Fiora, skill matchup. Zeri Lulu. Into Xayah, also favored Zeri Lulu lane phase wise, right? And then Kha'Zix into this team is very hard. And then you have Nautilus versus Ahri. I thought Ahri is going to run first strike this game. I definitely think it's better. But here we get a deja vu moment. We probably see the worst flash hook attempt that I've ever seen. Yagao is on some good kush. Damn. He tried to predict. This is hilarious. Faker just holds his spells and then he doesn't flash. Which is very cool, you know. Stone cold. Good, well played by Faker. But Yagao also runs it down. My man missed very hard. For this gank on mid, Oner shows top and he chunks bin. But now, deja vu, we've been in this place before. Oner shows in top, what happens by a lane? Deja vu, I've been in this place before. Shun was recalling. They're like, we can't dive, enemy's level 3. And then we have this monster full-on trade. I don't know why T1 went for this trade. I don't know why. Shun cancels his recall. Like, look, the Kha'Zix is stretching here. He's doing yoga. And then all of a sudden they hard trade. And they're like, yo, we're gonna dive this shit. Because Wukong is top. He didn't base in the bush. And he's doing crab. We're gonna fuck him up. Oi. Yagao. He's gonna die on mid, so Oner's keeping busy. Here, T1, you know, they traded really hard on bot, but it's tough, man. It's tough. Really not good. It's like he secured the top matchup. Fiora is at a disadvantage because he's slow pushing out, but once again, it's like being stronger in bot is so important. And then they get a kill here on, and such a clean dive. Such a clean dive. Well, of course it needs to be, because they do it every game, so they're very well practiced. Very well practiced. Mid manages to crash top wave base for base, but Zeus has kept TP top, which of course matters. Now the issue is, you know, with the gold advantage on Zeri and Lulu, and no summoners on Rakan, like XP advantage, you know, they can just push her forward, trade fucking hard. Like Rakan can't W so easily because Zeri of course keeps E, you know. And then once again we're here, back in the same moment. Just a hard trade into the wave, crash the wave, dive again. Are we surprised? We're not surprised. Shun manages to get out and the TP of Zeus here is just wasted. Sure, they managed to kill Shun, but Zeus doesn't get the bot wave and Fiora is freezing top. So it's very, very rough. It's like, here he doesn't get anything, Zeus. Just some XP. And the bot wave is also gone. He doesn't even get the bot wave. And now Xayah can't even go top because top is freezing and Rakan tempo is too bad. And then Jax can't even push bot because Xayah needs to go there. Very, very rough situation. But once again, the bot dive is just reappearing. Same exact structure. Hard trade. This time they were the ones forcing because they were so much stronger. And then Shun was in position. Really well played. I think Bilibili, you know, they've kept their aggression and their identity in what Bin is, and I think that uniqueness that he brings to the table, but they've also added the edge of how JDG like to play around bottom side, and I think they've really adapted that and made it into their own weapon. And now it's like Gumayushi is on the back foot, very tough position. They trade 1-for-1 top, but it's kind of meaningless because the wave does crash and Fiora is in good spot. Oner finishes the Divine Sunderer, and still, you know, from a fighting front, just because of how hard it is to execute Kha'Zix, it's not that one-sided. I think really it's not easy to teamfight with Kha'Zix in these situations. Considering Wukong, right? The information that they are working with, Wukong is showing on the top wave. He's showing on the top wave, he's probably pushing these minions only for the purpose of securing Divine Sunderer. There's no other reason. And the window and the timing is just so bad because Bilibili actually managed to squeeze the Drake in this window. They squeeze the Drake, peace out, and it's really, really good for them, of course, because this Hextech Drake is just monstrous. Here they're trying to really leverage the fact that Wukong is so strong, but Yagao flashes towards his Lulu. Lulu gets the ult off and the shield. This is so close, and also, of course, heartbreaking for T1, but they managed to zone the enemy off of this. Zeri was showing on mid because she opened through mid, and here for some reason Elk decides to trade, but Faker is going to trade ult for ult, and is of course going to be happy with that. He managed to chunk Elk out. Elk has nothing to deliver here, and then T1 plays the Herald and break a full turret. So it's like the play here from T1 is quite good because they end up, it's like the enemy ends up in really bad lane assignment. It's like here Zeri decides to push another mid wave, but in reality I think Zeri should just go bot here. I think Zeri Lulu should go bot here, and all is good. They should just match their lanes one again, you know? I think just Zeri needs to be here bot, and that's it. Just sack mid for one wave, let Nautilus base, and let him TP back mid to match Faker's TP. Because Faker does TP back mid, right? And that would have been way better. Way better. So T1 get a massive swing here in terms of gold, but Bilibili do have, of course, a lot of gold on Zeri because of the CS advantage, and then additionally, you know, Bilibili did get some platings bot, and Xayah shared a lot of those platings that happened on the bot side, right? Rakan got gold, Xayah got gold, and additionally, of course, Wukong also got gold. As you can see, the gold advantage is in Zeri's favor. So now we're pushing towards this Herald. Looking at what red side is bringing to the table, they do look stronger. Everfrost Ahri looks a lot stronger than this Catalyst Nautilus. We have Gale Force versus Shield Bow, and that's perfectly fine. Keria has Flash, On doesn't have Flash, and then additionally, I think that Wukong outvalues Kha'Zix heavily here. But the one thing that can't happen does happen. Keria is pushing here, and they are not in position, and Keria is not Eing the spell of Nautilus. He gets one shot here, and this provides, of course, the opening. Shun provides the damage because of his Q upgrade, and then the ult. He just ults and Qs. I mean, E's and Qs, and then he's dead. And then all of a sudden, this Herald that is so favorable for T1 is not favorable anymore because Keria gets caught. He just needs to E and wait for his team to connect, and then they need to step into the river together, and all is good. This is just a mistake, plain and simple. And now they get the Herald, which is massive. Massive, massive, massive. Elk decides to have fun. I don't know what the fuck this was, but he's a psycho and we love him for it. Burns his flash. And T1 for some reason here, I don't know why the fuck. I don't know why the fuck they thought they want to contest this. They should just rush bot and push. Like there's no contestation here. They have no tools, no nothing. No Ari ult, no Wukong ult. I don't know why they are staying here. This is like plain and simple cinema gaming. Gumayushi should have based, someone should have gone bot. Jax should match the Fiora again and all would have been good. But instead they're just oinking here, doing what? Just watching the enemy do Herald. And now, additionally, T1 are trying to pursue this by sieging mid. I'm not sure why they are sieging mid. I felt this was very absurd. I think they are just wasting time. They're just sieging mid here, and T1 now have lost so much CS on bot. And top wave was even. Faker now finally goes bot. And they didn't manage to accomplish anything in their mid siege. And that's it. Now still, I think a lot of the things that we mentioned before are still true. I think that Wukong is better than Kha'Zix. I think that Ahri should provide more value than the Nautilus. The main issue comes when Zeri manages to, finishes her 2-core, because she's going to finish that before Xayah. And that's when the problems are really going to kick in. But at this point, still, G2 can fight, T1 can fight back, and they really should. Let's see how it goes. A really cool detail here about Zeri is, when you play Zeri, you can connect to any fight very easily, and you can let Bilibili just take over position. Here I thought it was very strange, because when they see Bin and Elk and on these wards, I think they need to be ready to face check. Why are they all posturing towards topside? They need to just face check here. They need to face check here, take the space. There's 3 people on vision right now. They need to be in river face checking, but they have 4 oinking on the wave. Very poor macro here, I think. Right? They need to step into these bushes and push the enemy out. Why is T1 so afraid? They are so damn afraid. They need to just step into river. Yagao, like push him out, They're wasting so much time. And Yagao gets a big ult. Shun manages to secure this Drake, of course, just because he was left alone for so long. And then they get out. If they get out here, all is good. They don't want to fight. They're waiting for Zeri items. And now they're on soul point. And now we're going to reach that point where Zeri gets 2-core and things are going to get really dicey. T1 use all of the tools, and that's why Bilibili tried to get more here. There's no Wukong ult, no Ahri ult, no Xayah ult, and also no Rakan ult. So they're very happy to pursue for more. They're trying to siege and pursue more, take camps right, and peace out. Understandable from Bilibili's side. There's no threat. Gumayushi tried to E-flash. Like, this attempt is not so good because I think even if they hit this, there is no lethal here. As long as On uses ult to cancel Rakan W, there's no play here. They don't have damage to kill. They just have nothing here. So this is also like reeks of desperation. This whole sequence that we saw just reeks of desperation. They finally break the mid turret and they collapse into bot. Bilibili are just so stone cold. They seem to play as a unit. They seem to make very cohesive decisions. Really like here the Zeri build, just going the Zeal into a crit amplifier instead of finishing the full Zeal item. I mentioned PD before, but does delay his spike, but when the spike comes, it is a little bit bigger. And now the key thing is just the gold here of Zeri. Will she be able to get Navori Quickblade? And then how can they leverage that on the Drake, right? Here, of course, Bin knows he can't contest bot because no one's farming top. So as long as no one's farming top, he's not going to fight on bot. Very simple and principled play by Bin. Now Ahri TPs, and now he can walk and play with the wave again, and that's it, right? It's like Zeus and Jax, they're having really a lot of fun in playing Jax and Fiora on stage, but I have to say that both of them are so irrelevant in this game, like, it's a waste of breath to even talk about these top lane champions, all things considered. The main thing that matters here is the fact that Zeri is going to reach Navori, and then it can Zaya match in the speed of Navori, and that's it, you know? Shun now, level 11, gets his evolve. You know, Kha'Zix, even though I have a lot of problems with Kha'Zix, when things go well in the game, you get kills, you get drakes, and you manage to get level 11, your usefulness begins to really, really like accelerate, right? You can clear camp so fast, you have good items to buy, and you know, Kha'Zix becomes stronger with time. Now finally we're moving into this Drake. Cull is sold, and we have Zeri on Navori and Zaya on Navori. T1 need to make their final stand, right? They need to make their final stand. This is the moment where they need to fight. And no big finished item on any other person, and there's a zeal advantage. And this is when this happens. Zaya has no business contesting the mid-wave. Okay? No business. His team... Well, to be fair, I'm looking at this and I can't really blame Gumayushi. Now when I'm looking at it, I don't think I can blame Gumayushi. There should be a presence in the river by his team. But there's no presence. It's just Oner's punching this pink. Oner's punching this pink, and that's why they choose to commit. It's like, I understand why Gumi is on the wave, right? We're not talking about the mechanical play. We're just looking at the decision, okay? We're not looking at the mechanical play. The mechanical play comes after. The mechanical play is strictly, of course, Gumayushi's fault, right? But looking at this situation, it's like, I think that before they hit this pink and before they leave this zone here, they need to make sure that Zaya can kill the wave. Because even in a world where Gumayushi plays as mechanically correct, it's really bad for the game that he has to ult. And potentially also Gale Force, right? It's just that here, T1, they could have contested the wave together with him. They are in river first, which is really good. But if the enemy pushes like this, there needs to be some kind of throwback. But the issue is Oner is showing on the pink. That's why they are pushing forward. They're like, oh, fuck this guy up. Oner is on the pink. Right? And Billy just say, yo, this fucking Wukong is there. Let's fuck this guy up. Because if Wukong is there, this guy is trolling. And here, Yagao should always ult first. Because if he Qs first, Gumayushi is going to Gale Force out of range of ult. He should always ult first. Always if he ults, he's going to respond with R. And then off of the R, he can look for Q. Always ult first. Because if he Qs first, Gumayushi will Gale Force out, and that's it. He's out. If he ults first, has to ult every time. And then he has to Gale Force the hook. And then here, Gumayushi is playing for DPM, but he just got killed, you know? Like, this is, of course... They would already be losing, because Gumayushi traded ult for an Yagao ult. It would already be bad, right? And that's it. The enemy team gets, of course, a great soul, and they can't contest, they have no AD carry naturally. And now this game is giga favorite for Billy. We had this sequence that turned into such a tussle. Elk definitely made the game interesting. He's pushing forward and the knock up into the CC. Elk runs no cleanse, has no cleanse. Yagao with the TP. The key thing here is Jax has no TP because he TP'd on the top wave, I believe, just now. It's like here in this moment in this replay, Jax TP, so there's no wave. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is just uncanny and spooky. And that's it. the TP was gone. And the fact that Jax can TP, of course, makes this into a fight where Bilibili can turn around, use everything to kill Elk. And then Bilibili want to, of course, leverage this man advantage into Nash. But the issue is Oner is alive, and there is some potential here for T1 to actually fight back, because without Zeri, they don't do Nash that quickly. The key thing here is that Oner actually uses his W to DPS. T1 decides to fight back, and here is where Oner decides to use W. Wait. Let me find the exact frame where he uses W. When does he use W? He just doesn't have W. Here. Finally. Now he has no W. And Shun is like, whoa, he has no W. I'm gonna fucking finish this shit. In the most Giga Chat moment of the tournament. Crazy. He shouldn't have used W. If he had W, everything would have changed, right? And then Fiora would have been the one inting. And using W there definitely shifted the tide of this moment, right? This was just craziness. The entire sequence that we just saw was just craziness. That could have been a game changer, right? The Nash situation. Now instead, Bilibili are the ones with the Nash, and they begin to siege, and the truth of the soul is still relevant and true. Now this Kha'Zix is monster fed. He has Infernal Soul. He's collecting more and more gold. He has Eclipse. This Kha'Zix is beyond belief strong. Now we have this moment where Bilibili, I think all they need to do is prepare for the Elder that is spawning. The Elder is coming up right now, and Bilibili decide to say, yo, we want to see just a little bit longer. When in reality all they need to do is, of course, start the Drake, and then as the enemy tries to enter, they just get barraged with Kha'Zix Ws, and then the enemy just can't fight. But here Faker finds a really good angle onto Elk. You know, Elder is like spawning right now, you know? So Elder is spawning in 15 seconds. We don't need more. We don't need to squeeze more. Our Nash, it's like, we just need to be in the space. But once again, this is just Bilibili in a nutshell, you know? Boom. Boom. Very nice. And now things get weird. Now things get very, very weird. It's like, yo, you just lost Yagao and Elk, and the Elder is spawning. Holy shit. The issue with this Elder, right? And why you can't leverage this Elder into much more. The issue is that the enemy team, they combine Smite with Xayah, E, and Wukong. The main issue here is, of course, that you're in a spot now where Nash is not alive while you have Elder Drake, which is, of course, the main thing you want to... Also, Gumyushi spilled water on the plant, right? It's like, what can you do, right? It's like, you can try to siege, you can look for dive, you need to, like, look to threaten something. As long as the enemy gets to clear your waves because you have no Nash, it's very easy for Bilibili to just say, yo, we can stay under the turret and all is good. All is good. Now we've gotten to the point where there's no longer an Elder Dragon and Nash is spawning. You have similar items on AD versus AD, and position matters more than anything. But Yagao finds this gorgeous angle, he flashes over the wall, and Keria over postures, and he just gets one-tapped. Like here in this spot, right, Yagao was aiming for Faker. So Keria got shit for this, but he's aiming for Faker, and Rakan kind of saves his life. Sure, Faker could stopwatch, and maybe like it's just a better fight altogether. If that happens, right? Maybe there's a decision there, but you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say when the situation looks like this. Because he's gonna get queued into Nautilus Ard, into maybe Polymorphed, into CC'd. Maybe he just gets one shot, you know? It's hard to say. Instead, Keria dies, and this of course is easy conversion into Nash, because Fiora is here. Fiora can push out the Wukong on his own. And that's it, you know? That's it. Wukong can't really look for steal. It's very difficult. Fiora's gonna just murder him if he tries to enter. It is what it is, yeah? Very good turn there from Yagao. Like, very hard for them to enter the space. They don't have mid turrets, so Billy just leverage the fact that Xayah is showing on the wave and they just enter that space and make it their own. Very, very good. Now looking at the game deciding fight. Here, the most tricky thing about T1, right, is that they have to defend Herald and defend the Drake and their base. They're not going to realistically be able to actually do Elder because of the threat of End. Key detail here is that Ben used TP. So he based and TP'd bot. So he doesn't have TP. Jax does have TP. If there's a wave on bot, Billy can easily say, we're going to reset this Drake and then just go 5-man bot. Well, not 5-man, they go 4-man, because Kha'Zix needs to interrupt the recalls. That's definitely a decision that Billy can do. In this moment, Billy are just pulling the Drake and seeing the reaction from T1. They have vision in Pixel, and they're just posturing down. Actually, don't have vision in Pixel, I lied. I thought that the main thing that Billy are looking out for is trying to find that play that is going to allow them to end the game through bot. Because as long as they keep the enemy interested, they're going to have these super minions crashing into the enemy base, and then Kha'Zix can easily interrupt recalls with W and R and play for time. But instead we have this full-on, blown-out fight. Gumayushi is trying to posture, and now he's trading, of course, his ult for ult. And now, the thing is, the moment Gumayushi has ult down, Zeri has such an easy time trading auto-attacks with Gumayushi. The main threat that Xayah has in an AD versus AD trade is that she can reset the whole fight with R, and then it does immense amount of damage, and it places a lot of feathers, right? So basically, like Xayah can like R an auto attack or an ability that is in the air and then reset the fight, like play around her W, Q, E, and this is her advantage against other ADs. But now that the advantage is gone, and Yagao is very happy to trade that, because the threat of Yagao is still there because of his Q. Still, you know, I think there's a world where Billy could make the play where they look for end, but they seem very, very comfortable with, you know, just looking for the fight. I didn't see the Faker ulted. I don't know what Faker ulted. The charm timing on the E was not good enough, but I don't even think they can kill Bin here. He has so much armor. And then T1 finally decide to engage. But Elk survives. As long as Elk is alive, who has a GA, the DPS is just too high from Billy. And T1 is now out of the tournament. You can see here on, right? I want to see what Keria did. Because the Lulu ult. Look at the Lulu ult on the Rakan W. Very nice. Very nice. And Tabe begins his run.
You can see Tabe is ecstatic about that for BLG.
Yeah, the Mikkel and Rakan are as well. For sure. Yeah. Honestly, Billy, what was the key difference? Just the dives on bot, right? The dives on bot was such a big swing. I think Shun had a fantastic series, honestly. Shun played insanely well. Shun played insanely well. Tabe is just an MSI legend, man. Tabe is just a G. I think, you know, if I should give someone MVP, I think it's tough, right? It's always hard to choose when the games are so high level because it's just a question of preference. It's like probably Bin doesn't deserve it. Not that he didn't play bad or good, like he played good, but it's just in terms of impact of top lane in the context of the game, right? I think Shun or Elk. On is also arguable, but then it's like, yeah, but he played fucking Lulu every game. Right? He played 4 games of Lulu. We want to give 4 games of Lulu MVP, guys? We have 4 games of Lulu MVP. Are we going to do that? Yeah, it's tough. And those people talking about T1 replacements, it's like, who the fuck are T1 going to get? How do they make improvements that aren't like insanely expensive? It's like T1 made a commitment to this year to stick with this roster. So obviously they're not going to make changes. So yeah, well, they can get Viper, and then they can get Canyon, and then they can get like some challenger Korea top laner. Like, guys, I don't think it's that deep, you know. I think the problems that T1 is facing is definitely like solvable through preparation and through proper practice. I think it's definitely solvable. Maybe if T1 should look for something, it's like, how can they bolster their coaching staff, you know? I think that's something they can look for, right? If there's something there that they can find improvement in, I think that's where things can get interesting, right? I think that's where they can find improvements. But that also, of course, comes with risks. It's just that look at Billy's rise when they brought in Tabe. Tabe joins March 29th. March 29th. March 29th is here. So they lost against these homies. This is where Tabe joined. Win, 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 win. Lose against JDG. Ah, that's tough, man. Win, 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 win. Fuck everything else. Crazy stuff, no? Only lost against JDG. They lost 3 BO5s against JDG. That's all they lost. He's got that MSI secret sauce. About tomorrow's series, guys, let's just add that too. Tomorrow's series, I think JDG is going to win.
Jacob,
Yeah?
you wanted to eat.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, you said this 2 hours ago.
Yeah, because I started 2 hours ago.
Yeah, but you want me to bring the food?
Yeah, because I'm just finishing this up, Angel. I just need to do my prediction, then we're done. All right, I think JDG is going to win. Why? Okay? The reason I think JDG is going to win, I think that they are going to do a way better job of controlling bot. So it's like now it's been very well established that JDG is going to, you know, it's like JDG is very good playing through bot. This is what Bilibili has taken inspiration from JDG that play through bot. They are the ones who dove. They were the ones who made Bilibili restructure how they play around the game. And I think another key fundamental difference is Knight plays all of the important champions. Knight plays all of the important champions. But Yagao against Knight, Yagao turns into a different beast every time for some reason. I wish that was a meme, but every time these guys face off, Yagao just turns into a different player. In a good way. In a good way. I think also 369 is far more comfortable in the current state of the meta. I think in terms of how 369 team fights and how they play around AD carry, I think those nuances and those details JDG just does so damn well. So damn well. You guys are saying remember DRX at Worlds, but if I watched a exact same tournament play out, okay? And then I saw T1 versus DRX in the finals, I would still think T1's gonna win. And that's the only thing that I can do, right? I can look at the information available to me and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But that's okay. I think just JDG, I think that their solo laners are better shaped for what the meta is. And I think that the 3v3 jungle bottom side is going to be far more contested. And I think that JDG is going to do a fantastic job. But I repeat, guys, I repeat. My last 3 predictions for Bilibili were wrong. Even though I was one of the few homies that said, yo, Bilibili, these guys are fucking good when things go right for them. They are fucking good. Be scared of them. People said that C9 is going to beat them. And that is the Western hope. That shit was crazy to me. People said Genji is going to 3-0 Bilibili. That shit was crazy to me. Right? I think that JDG is just a team that figured out how to play the game earlier than Bilibili. And I think that they are just ahead of the curve. Because in the end, right, I think that JDG's roster is just fantastic. I think Bilibili has very, very high highs. But JDG is contesting that same game. Tomorrow we're going to have the last day of MSI, guys. And I would be very excited if you guys join me. It's going to be a fantastic time, good time. Oh. Where do you think T1 should vacation? The Maldives. The Maldives, Dom. The Maldives. Cable tweet, do you agree? T1 roster will probably disband if they don't make good run at Worlds later this year. Important year for them. Well, this is like the driest take ever. Like, of course this is gonna happen. Do you think they're gonna stay together? Of course they're gonna fucking disband. They're going to restructure the whole roster. Important year for them. No shit, bruv. God bless Kedru. God bless Kedru. I hope he breaks records tomorrow. I feel bad for Kedru. I think if tomorrow T1 versus JGG was finals, I think he would have cracked 100k 100%, by the way. He would have cracked 100k. But now LPL versus LPL, I think it might have less viewers than today. What did Medic tweet? Does he know? That's pretty fucking funny. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done for today. Who do we rate?